It was probably in like the first 5 years of my DJ career, but I was playing in Whistler, so it was before I moved to the UK and before I had a radio show or had a label or anything. And I was playing in this quite small DJ booth, and they had massive monitors on either side, which were way too tall for me at the time. I mean, I'm wearing 3-inch platforms today. I was in the middle of my set, and I kind of heard this pop at one point, and the monitor literally fell on top of me. And I was working with another DJ at the time, and they were just like, what happened? Like, where did she go? Also, I was playing vinyl, so everything was just skipping and like a complete fucking mess. I had like really injured my shoulder, but that was probably the worst time that's actually happened to me. It hasn't happened to me since, thank gosh.
I think a common one is sometimes, like I play with CDJs, and sometimes I now make it a habit to check if the loop quantizer is on, not the sync button. I don't use the sync button, but the loop quantizer is on because I loop a lot when I play, and I've had times, or a couple years ago at least, when I started DJing more, and the quantize button was off, so you'd make a loop and it would just almost kind of jump. And I've had maybe like a couple situations where it actually goes completely out, and you're like, whoops, and you have to fix it. And I think one time I was DJing with someone actually, and they were taking over for me, and they were setting up their USB. Everything was all good, and they went to cue their track up, and they actually pressed the cue on the wrong CDJ, and it was of my track that was playing, and the whole club went silent. And we both kind of stood there looking at each other like, what's going on? And then he's like, well, that was bound to happen eventually. So yeah, that was embarrassing, but I'm happy that didn't happen to me.
It was here in Amsterdam, like 2008 or 7, that my tractor scratch was not yet final scratch in that time. My tractor scratch burned the sound card. I was playing, and it had smoke getting out of it, and the equipment stopped playing, and I couldn't come back to play. And I think this was one of the reasons I didn't play in Amsterdam for a couple of years after this. But this, I think, happened to a lot of people. I don't know if the card has burned too many people, but it stopped. Because of this, I decided that I would never again bring my computer or a sound card on a stage with me, ever.
Well, I feel like gear problems, that's always going to happen, but that's not really like a big issue, because as much as it sucks to happen, it's not really your fault, so I can't really do anything about it. But there's one time in China, for example, I had like a really long Asia tour, so it was one of the last shows. I was really tired, and my flight got delayed. It was like a blizzard or something, so my plane couldn't get up. I was stuck at the airport for 8 hours, just made it to the show. But I wasn't able to eat anything, so the promoter was nice enough to bring me a pizza. But I also had to go on right away, so he put the pizza right behind me. And while I was doing the show, I was like sneakily trying to eat like a piece of pizza because I was so hungry, and it was a really cool show as well. So I was like super excited, trying to eat pizza and mix my stuff and do like cool mashups and stuff. But my hands got like super greasy. So just happened that like, because my hands were so greasy, my hands slipped. I didn't even know what happened, but the music just fully stopped because of my greasy fingers. And at that point, I just knew I messed up, and I was there like, the music was cut out. I had half a pizza in my hand. And at that point, I just brought the pizza to the front row, and I just told everyone like, okay, I tried to like save it, and people liked it, so good for me. But I just went to the front of the crowd, told everyone what happened. Like, I'm sorry guys, I've been stuck in a blizzard. Let's share this pizza together. So the whole front row got like a slice, and I ate my last slice. And then after a minute, I started the music again, and everyone was fine with it. They all were laughing, but like, I wish it didn't happen because it was kind of awkward. But cool story though.
Something terrifying actually happened this year at Electric Forest. I went to plug in my USB to the CDJs, and it completely malfunctioned. So I basically had to scrape together a set from a malfunctioned USB and load whatever records would load, which was not very many. So.
Yes. I was playing back to back with a good partner, and he fell asleep because of drunk. So I had to finish on my own the set, What else?
Yeah, I was doing an after hours in New York, and the CDJ, the platter was just, it was like, I don't know what was wrong with it. It had a really bad, like, oh boy, it had a really bad glitch. And I was playing, and the track just like kind of like paused on me and stopped, and then I had to redo the whole thing. I had to go back from the start of it, and that was it. It happens to everyone though. All that technical difficulty stuff happens to everyone. I've seen all the biggest guys, you know, go through it all. So it happens. It's in our nature.
We're live musicians. We can tell you about failure. Well, we can start off with the very first show we ever did as Booka Shade. We had the fantastic idea to run like 10 tracks or more, 12 tracks stereo audio from a laptop back then in 2004. You know, it wasn't that strong at that time. Plus full range video for 1 hour from one laptop. And of course it didn't work at all. It blew, and every 5 minutes it just went down. I had to tell a lot of jokes. It wasn't a big audience, it was at Watergate in Berlin. I remember that very well.
We had 4 computer crashes in one show, and then the other thing is definitely we always ask for a stage, because we had drums, the keyboards we still have. It was a different situation at that time, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, but the thing was that we said we need a stage. What we didn't write in the writer was that it should be on one level. So the thing was the stage was on 2 levels. So he played the drums like that because because he had to put the drums down and he stood a bit higher. There are so many situations. We actually were writing a book about it. We are on page 365 now, and it's not even half of it. It's crazy how many crazy stories you have over the years.
There's a lot to be experienced on the road.
Some people that booked me for a party, they didn't like the music, so they brought another DJ to play instead of me while I was playing. But this girl DJ was very, 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 very drunk or something else. So I had to finish playing her music, where she would say, play this and this and this, to make happy the owner of the party. There was also very important people of the fashion scene on a city of Italy that I don't want to say.
Lamentable por suerte, tuve muchas situaciones extrañas pinchando desde que comencé hasta ahora. Pero creo que una época en particular fue cuando era joven, que tocaba en un pub de música china, tocaba una especie de hard techno cantado en mandarín como a 150, 160 BPM. Y era interesante, por llamarlo de alguna forma, pero siempre en algún momento de la noche la gente del lugar se ponía media ebria y todos los chinos empezaban medio como a ponerse violentos y se armaban medias peleas como de artes marciales. Era algo medio bastante bizarro, la verdad. Pero bueno, tenía su toque divertido también.
I had a party that the monitor set fire also in Paris. It was very fun. So we had to run out of the club. It was called Le Folie Pigalle in Paris. I think that's it.